Hello, Algebra 1A students. This is the helpful video on interpreting expressions. There's not a whole lot of tricks to interpreting expressions. It's one of those things that you just kind of have to think about a little bit. So let's look at these three problems together. Maybe we'll do just two. We'll see how long it takes. And try and figure out what exactly we're trying to do here. So let's read the first problem. Last year, Eric grew X inches. This year, Eric grew T inches. Eric is now 5 feet tall. What quantities do the following expressions represent in terms of the problem's context? So X and T, we can just kind of treat as if they're numbers. They're like numbers we don't know, okay? So let's look at A. So A says X plus T. Well, let's kind of define that. Well, X is how much Eric grew, and T, last year. Okay, so let's erase that and put X is last year and T is this year. So we're taking what he grew last year and adding it to what he grew this year. So what that really means, what that expression is really saying is how much Eric has grown in 2 years, right? Because we're taking how much he did last year, how much he grew this year. That's 2 years of growth. So B says 5 minus T. Well, 5 is how tall he is now. T was how much he grew this year. So we're taking how tall he is now and subtracting how much he grew. So really what we're looking at is how tall he was at the end of last year. Okay, because we're taking how much he is now minus that. Okay, so then we have 5 minus T minus X. So again, we're looking at how tall he is now, how much he grew this year, and then how much he grew last year. So we're subtracting how much he grew this year and how much he grew last year. So really, we're looking at 5 feet minus however much he grew last year. So that's how he was at the end of last year. And then again, the year before that. So how tall he was at the beginning of 2 years. Okay? So it might help you to kind of rewrite exactly what everything is, maybe even turn it into something like last year minus this year or plus this year. You know, maybe write that out even to that extent might help you a little bit. So let's look at Darla, and then we'll probably be done. So Darla is selling fruit at her parents' fruit stand. Darla has R apples to sell and G oranges to sell. She sells apples for 50 cents and oranges for 75 cents. What quantities do the following expressions represent in terms of the problem's context? So R is how many apples she has to sell, and G is how many oranges she has to sell. So we're taking her apples she has to sell plus her oranges to sell, which is really how much fruit total she has to sell. Okay. Let's look at B, which is 0.75 G. Well, 0.75, well, that's the price for oranges here, right? That's the price. I'm going to write price here. Now, G is oranges that she has to sell, right? So we're taking the price of oranges and multiplying, or we're taking the number of oranges and multiplying by the price, which means that's giving us how much money she makes on oranges. Okay. If you think about G being 1, she sold 1 orange, she'd make 75 cents. If she sold 2 oranges, she'd make $1.50. 3, she'd make $2.25. Okay. Now let's look at this one. So this one we already know, right? How much money she spends on oranges, that's up there. Now this is 50 cents, the price for apples, times how many apples that she sold. So this is the price, or this is how much from apples. So again, we're taking how much she made from apples plus how much she made from oranges. So in all, how much money total she made. Okay. Again, these problems are a lot about thinking about what each variable means and just kind of making a few assumptions on that. If you have any questions, please bring them to class.